Imagine the concrete and engineering monster capable of swallowing more than 900 million liters of rainwater at once. An open-air reservoir close to the gray ground of one of the largest cities in the world that, instead of causing floods, fights them. This proposal is for the Jaboticabão Reservoir, one of the largest flood containment projects in São Paulo's history. And it's not just a reservoir, it's a watershed, both literally and metaphorically. Between the urban chaos of a flooded past and the promise of a dry and safe future, in a country where the rains usually dictate the routine of millions, this project emerges as a bold, almost cinematic response to the challenges of uncontrolled urbanization. An open-air intervention, the size of a neighborhood, designed to protect entire neighborhoods. Stay with us for the next few minutes and check out unique details about this giant of Brazilian engineering. The Jaboticabão Reservoir is being built on the border between São Paulo and São Caetano do Sul, in one of the most sensitive areas of the metropolitan region when it comes to flooding. Its strategic location next to the Anchieta Highway, at the confluence of the Meninos and Curos streams in Vila Liviero, makes it one of the most important urban macro drainage projects in the state. With a capacity of 900,000 cubic meters, the project will be the largest reservoir of its kind ever built in the metropolitan region of São Paulo, surpassing iconic reservoirs such as those of Aricanduva and Pacambo. The maximum volume of water collected is equivalent to more than 360 Olympic swimming pools in an interconnected system and gallery channels that cover a densely urbanized basin. But the physical grandeur is just the tip of the iceberg. Why is Jaboticabão being built there? We need to look back, because this project was born from decades of pain, losses, and political promises. The Córrego dos Meninos Basin, site of the upcoming Jaboticabão Reservoir, has always faced problems. Just 1 hour of heavy rain can flood streets, float cars, and leave families with nothing. For decades, the neighborhoods of Desabastaram, Caetano, Sacoma, and Ipiranga have lived with an invisible enemy that came from the sky, the floods. The pressure from civil society grew. Residents and business owners from the ABC region demanded solutions. Mayors came and went, promises were made and forgotten, until the economic and social impacts became too great to ignore. In 2015, the São Paulo state government began initial studies to permanently address the problem. The Department of Water and Electric Energy was tasked with preparing the executive project. But the complexity of the area, which is highly urbanized, and the need to coordinate with the city hall of the capital and with São Caetano do Sul, delayed the schedule. Political and financial momentum finally began at the start of 2020. With an investment of 573 million reais, including the amount for expropriations, the project was put out to bid and started in 2021. Now it's set to be the capital's largest hydraulic project in decades. And this is where some incredible engineering factors come into play, but what are they? Constructing the Jaboticabão Reservoir is as challenging as the largest macro drainage projects in the big city. A densely urban area at the junction of São Paulo, São Caetano do Sul, and São Bernardo do Campo. Each decision balances hydraulics, geotechnics, urban logistics, and licensing. The project is an open-air detention reservoir with a useful capacity of 900,000 cubic meters and a characteristic depth of approximately 13 meters, connecting the Jaboticabão stream to the Ribeirão de Meninos, next to the Anchieta Highway. The horizontal large area solution stores peak flows and returns the water in a controlled manner after the rain, flattening the hydrograph in the Alto Tamandu America Basin and reducing upstream overflows. The implementation requires large-scale earthworks, terraced slopes, and inlet and outlet devices, with energy dissipation and solid retention. Before the pump house, in parallel with the civil fronts, the project operates with site drainage, management of excavation water, and licensed waste disposal, mitigating siltation and traffic interference. The structure is an open reservoir with pump houses and connections to the existing system. The public documents do not disclose specifications, reinforcements, types of foundation, or thicknesses, but they do indicate barrier coatings compatible with constant humidity, bottom protections, and local containment measures. According to the site's geotechnical analysis, the inlet hydraulics were designed to quickly receive the inflow from Jaboticabal, whose approximately 700-meter pipeline is included in the package. The flows are directed to areas with dissipators and low-velocity zones, where solids settle before reaching the pumps in systems of this type. Grading, trash racks, and settling units protect the pumps against blockages, vortices, and abrasion from sediments, as well as reducing upstream drag. Performance over time depends on maintenance routines, cleaning of grates, sludge removal, inspection of lining, and restoration of tow drains. The post-rainwater pumping is done by 6 motor pump sets, each with a capacity of 850 liters per second, for a total flow rate of 5.1 cubic meters per second. In standard units, 850 liters per second is equivalent to 3,060 cubic meters per hour for 6 pumps. So that's more than 18,360 cubic meters per hour. The staggered activation modulates the discharge according to the set level in the Ribeirão dos Meninos and operational guidelines, limiting hydraulic transients and respecting the capacity of the receiving channel. As a reference, emptying 900,000 cubic meters at the nominal flow rate would take 49 hours, about 2 days, depending on the operating window and water quality. This logic of storing quickly and releasing slowly is the core of urban detention reservoirs. The location next to Anchieta and the confluence of the Meninos and Curos streams creates complex interfaces with the road network and public services. From a hydraulic perspective, the detention basin reduces peak flows and delays runoff for the downstream system, but does not prevent flooding. The real benefit depends on local rainfall, integration with micro-drainage, maintenance of pretreatment units, and coordination with other devices in the metropolitan network. In fact, rainfall level telemetry and integration with municipal and state control centers are common practices, allowing operating rules that tie discharge to the conditions of the receiving river and to meteorological forecasts. The most recent updates record 75% progress in June 2025 and an expected completion in December 2021. Future operational safety guides the detailing of maintenance access, inspection points, internal roads, defenses, and lighting. With regulated operation, telemetry, and routine maintenance of grates, sludge, slopes, and drainage, the large excavation is converted into resilient infrastructure. The scale of the reservoir, the associated canalization of Jaboticabal, and the controlled pumping cooling to Ribeirão dos Meninos form a robust response to an old problem. Once the civil works and commissioning are completed, performance over the decades will depend on 3 pillars: capacity, control, and maintenance. This is the safest way to have fewer overflows and more predictability when the rain gets heavy. The Jaboticabal Reservoir is the largest in São Paulo and among the biggest macro drainage projects in Latin America. The volume is greater than the traditional Pacaembu Reservoir, which holds 75,000 cubic meters, and even surpasses the Pacho Reservoir in São Bernardo, with 220,000 cubic meters. For example, the storage capacity equals 360 Olympic-sized swimming pools. The estimated cost of 570,000 to 3 million reais makes it one of the most expensive projects ever carried out in sanitation and flood control in Brazil. For comparison, the set of flood control works in the Tietê Arc, started in the 2000s, consumed 1 billion reais. However, in updated values, this amount was spread over more than 10 interventions. Intentionally, the reservoir can be compared to the Smart Tunnel project in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, which, in addition to being a road tunnel, also serves as a drainage channel. The amount invested, approximately 2.4 billion reais, is 4 times more than the São Paulo project. Although with different foundations, both represent creative and large-scale solutions to contain urban flooding and critical areas. The expected impacts of the Jaboticable Reservoir are profound. According to estimates from the San Bernardino City Hall, about 1.5 million people will benefit directly or indirectly. The coordinated operation tends to improve the flow of the road network of the triple border and the adjacent metropolitan corridors, especially on rainy days with productivity gains and reduced losses. That is, neighborhoods like Sacoma, Heliopolis, Ipiranga, and downtown San Cayetano will experience more safety and fewer losses. With the reduction of flood points, significant improvements in urban mobility in the region are also expected. Traffic flow on rainy days will be preserved, which translates into productivity and savings for companies and workers in the region. In addition, the project creates an urban landmark, enhancing the surrounding area and encouraging investments in infrastructure, housing, and commerce. The Jaboticable Reservoir. The Jaboticable is more than just an engineering project. It is a concrete response to decades of neglect and flooding, a symbol that the city can indeed reinvent itself. Written on the asphalt, it holds the promise of better days for those who have always suffered from the floods. When it is finished, it won't be seen, but it will be felt with every rainfall that doesn't turn into a tragedy, in every neighborhood that breathes a sigh of relief. Thank you for watching this video until the end. What did you think of this major project, which is more than necessary for the... Leave your thoughts in the comments. I look forward to reading them. That's it for now. Big hug. See you in the next video.